We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and your friends if you want to support this college football rebel outpost, the rebel outpost for all the college football sickos out there. If you want to support this channel through a donation, hit the $ where you make a comment and we'll get to your super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, PATC community. The PATC community that has the same exact record as the fat guy from Minnesota, Greg the Cooler, against the spread, 13 wins and 21 losses. Don't be afraid to be a legend with your comments in the chat room and with your phone calls later in the show. A couple weeks ago, we had an Open Line Tuesday live show. We're going to do it again. It's going to be a very short monologue. Although every time I say that, there's some breaking news and everything goes pear-shaped in regards to the planning of the live show. But we're going to open up the phone calls early today. And we're going to go as long or as short as you want this live program to go. I want people to call in, of course, talk about it, whatever you want in college football. But I'm also going to be asking about your team. What are your celebrations? What are your worries going into week 4? Have you given up? Have you thrown in the towel? Are you already looking for next year? Or is your team one of those teams that can still dream the beautiful dream, the American dream of getting into the college football playoffs? Let me know in your phone calls. Very short monologue. We're going to be talking about the breaking news of Governor Kemp, the governor of Georgia, signing a bill that basically stops the NCAA from enforcing their NIL rules on Georgia and Georgia Tech and the other universities in the state of Georgia. But the two that are affected mostly, the two schools that have a real NIL program, collectives out there, Georgia and Georgia Tech. Until there is a resolution on the House versus NCAA settlement. So right now, we're going to go through a short article on 3, little article talking about it. But right now, as we sit here on September 17th, Georgia has an advantage over the other SEC programs. Georgia Tech has an advantage over the other ACC programs. And of course, the advantage over the Big 10 and the Big 12. And because right now, there is no guardrails at all. If Georgia, the University of Georgia, want to funnel $40 million into football players, they can do it. Same with Georgia Tech. Straight from the university, straight to the football players. No enforcement of NIL. It's a state law in the state of Georgia. Again, I only hope and can pray that there is going to be some renaissance where Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey and the university presidents wake up from this ever-ending nightmare and say, oh, wait, we do need the student athletes to treat them like professionals all the way through. They get all the benefits, they pay all the taxes, they have representation, and in return, our university, our programs, the conferences, they also have protections and representative. It's called the collective bargaining agreement. It's called the CBA. Let's get it done. Tony Petitti and Sankey, get it done. Now what we're going to have, in my estimation, we're going to have state of Texas, Oklahoma, whatever, all these states. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them are going to be changing their state law to match Georgia's state law. So the advantage that Georgia and Georgia Tech has is going to be short-lived. But the answer has been sitting there in front of us. That was my episode 1 on this YouTube channel was all about. It was my manifesto. The peak around the corner. Collective bargaining. And we're not there yet. Anyway, so we're gonna talk and do a little article on that. We're gonna go through the games real quick. Week 4, we're just gonna go scatter through the games. We're not making the selections today. That's gonna be tomorrow, so keep your head on a swivel. Before we do the roll call, I would ask, for those who haven't done so, for those who are interested but haven't done so, I would I would advise that you subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications. Shortly before I came on live, and before, I talked to the little general and said, trying to figure out our plan here for the rest of the day, just like any old family. We decided to do a live show that's going to be mostly open to phone calls. But I was advised by the chatter behind the curtain that this expansion of the Pac-12 is coming quicker than anticipated. That is the chatter behind the curtain. That was not what we were anticipating, or at least I wasn't. The people that I am fortunate to talk to, it was going to be quick, but it wasn't going to be this quick. There's a lot of discussion still to be had. There's still a lot of going back and forth. The AAC is in the game, but it sounds like the train is further down the track than what we had thought. So just keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you have those notifications turned on. I'm not I'm not putting any timetable on it. I'm not even saying it's imminent, because we don't know. But it's way further down the track than we thought. Like, way further. So we were off on that. So again, this is the time to turn on your notifications. We could come on live at any time. Let's get into the roll call. Then we're going to get into Georgia. Georgia. I got Georgia on my mind. T-Ducks is in the house. Charlie Atwood, UR, Penn State, Struthers, Spartans, James Foster, the Walking Geek, Larry the GM, he's got to be feeling good. Arch Manning. Man, he's got all types of skill. Arch Manning, holy smokes. The Longhorns quarterback position is going to be just fine for next year and for the rest of this year. Who's ever playing? Nathan Campbell is in the house. AMAC, Randy Taylor, Bearcat, Steve. He's got a big game this week. Caleb Ramirez. Michael's in the house. Dave B. Go Greg, Utah are chumps. Holy smokes. The elbows are being thrown. Go Cyclones. Matt Neeson is here. Nick Kelso. Rock and Rant is in the house. Mr. Mountaineer. Afternoon PATC. Another Cyclone is in the house. KS Bear Fan is here. Holy smokes. Skaven, yes. Hello, Mad Gopher. Go. Big. Red. Ryan Brooks, LSU. Bill G is here. Vox Quindardo is in the house. Stephen Vitt. Here comes the hot guy. Here comes the hot guy. It's Saturday night. It looks like it's going to be raining all day long in Huntington Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's going to be a wet field. We'll see what happens. Daniel is in the house. Look at here. Daniel Gygax is in the house. Maria Hernandez Flugar Vargas is here in the house. The moderator, the one who rules with an iron fist. How about UConn to the ACC? Don't think it's happening. Don't think it's happening, Connecticut fan. You're going to have to wait to 2025. That story isn't over yet with UConn in the Big 12. Josie Jose, Mr. USC Trojan, is in the house. He's getting ready for the big Michigan game. But 3 weeks from now, he's got to get ready for the big Golden Gopher game, which is going to be a beautiful uniform game. Maybe not a beautiful game on the scoreboard, but a beautiful uniform game. We'll talk about that in a few weeks from now. Bo Weevil, Mr. Clemson Tiger, is here. Go Clemson, beat North Carolina State. Well, since North Carolina State, they're not my team. They've really never been my team. They were really never my pick to win the ACC. I don't really know who they are. Finally, Toon is in the house. Here comes the unions and massive taxes and Title IX lawsuits. Tough Tony is here. Casey Mallory is here. Kevin Hampton. Carlton Hurdle. Frogs to make a comeback. Yes, I thought that was a great game. I am great, Greg. Larry the GM is making sure that he knows that I know that he knows that I know. Longhorn fans are ecstatic. AZ Buckeye 96 is in the house. Expedition Greg, another Buckeye fan, is here. Holy smokes. Preston from Greensboro, North Carolina. And I'm still hurting. The North Carolina defeats the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Okay, so that's our Humble Bumble Duck is in the house. Stephen McNeely is here. J-Math is here. Terry Kane is here. Okay, so let's go through the story real quick. And then we're going to go through the games, and then it's Open Line Tuesday. And we'll cover any breaking news that happens because we are in a, let's just call it, fat guy from Minnesota alert. There's a fat guy from Minnesota alert out there. Keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you have your notifications turned on to this college football YouTube channel. Governor Georgia Brian Kemp signs executive order prohibiting NCAA from enforcing NIL rules. Governor George, this is from On3, Pete Knuckles. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed an executive order Tuesday prohibiting the NCAA from taking adverse action against an institution for compensating an athlete for NIL. The order is immediately effective and will remain in effect until a federal law is enacted regulating the rights of athletes or the effective date of the House v. NCAA settlement. Or the effective date. The effective date, man, who knows when that's going to be. If approved, the settlement will allow schools to share $20 to $23 million. We know about that. Until the settlement is approved, institutions are operating under a patchwork of state laws. Lawmakers in Missouri and Texas have passed bills in recent years to prevent the NCAA from launching investigations into NIL activities. Missouri NIL laws even allow high school recruits to enter into NIL deals to start earning endorsement money as soon as they sign with in-state colleges. Student athletes in the state of Georgia should compete on a level playing field and not forego compensations available to student athletes in other states while the settlement is pending. Georgia executive order states. So here we are. Kemp's executive order gives Georgia and Georgia Tech football a competitive NIL advantage in compensating athletes. That's the PATC money shot of the article. And other people have reported the University of Georgia, Georgia Tech Institute. Look, they can directly, there is no guardrails at all they can shuttle the money to the student athletes, no salary cap, nothing. If Georgia wants to go on a spending binge for 1 year to make sure that they always have the number 1 and number 2 and number 3 class, but if they can just go crazy until the effective date of the NCAA versus the House goes into effect. And we don't know when that is. That's how the state of the Georgia law is written. So Georgia and Georgia Tech, what if they open up the call for some Georgia Tech has I don't think they're going to do this, but it's not like Georgia Tech is a poor university. They have money, they have endowments. They can go on a spending spree. They probably won't. But as of right now, the Georgia schools have the advantage. Again, number one, because this is all you've got right now, we are going to keep covering the House versus NCAA. We're going to be covering this settlement. We're going to see what Judge Wilkins says. We're going to cover it here at Peek Around the Corner. If it's approved and enacted, we're going to cover how all this is, the cap, the $2.8 billion payback. We're going to continue to cover this. We know there's been reports about Big Ten and the SEC working on a transparency, like possibly where, some sort of, they're allegedly, Big Ten and the SEC are allegedly working on some sort of dashboard where they know what offers are out there for the student athletes. We are going to follow wherever the story goes here at Peek Around the Corner. But ultimately, we believe it's going to end up with a CBA. A year from now, 5 years from now, after they get sued a couple more times, whatever. But as long as it stops short of that, and it is going to right now, we're going to cover it. We're going to cover it. We're going to cover the impact and all the laws and regulations and enforcement. But man, it's Jeff Morgan, never-ending lawsuits. This was so obvious. This is why I never believed in the settlement. So, okay, so we're going to go through the games real quick. The game's happening throughout week 4. We're just going to go real quick, scattershot, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. Stanford, Syracuse. Big game, big game. Stanford, first ACC game, conference game against the Orange, 2-0, Kyle McCord. Friday night as well, Illinois, Nebraska, both going in as 3-0. This is really the first competitive team that the great freshman Dylan Raiola is going to go against. It's going to be a fascinating game to watch. Brett Bielema, Matt Rule. We're going to be doing a watch party on this game Friday night, so come join us. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Dylan Raiola is a fun, very fun quarterback to watch. Holy smokes, is that kid talented. San Jose, Washington State, the Cougars 3-0, and they're marching along the CW network at 9 p.m. Friday night. Then the Saturday games. Marshall, Ohio State, the Buckeyes looking to go 3-0. They should roll over the Thundering Herd. Clemson 1-1, NC State 2-1. I'm very afraid for my, not mine, not my Wolfpack. No, not my Wolfpack. But I'm very afraid of this game. At Clemson, North Carolina State, we're going to talk more about it tomorrow. I do want to get a more clear perspective on what's going on with Grayson McCall. But we'll get into that tomorrow. Florida, Mississippi State, I don't know, guys. I think the Gators should roll through this game. But obviously, Billy Napier is on the hot seat. Mississippi State they're just going down the drain this year. I believe I predicted Mississippi State to come in last in the SEC. I think I picked Vanderbilt ahead of them. I think that prediction might work out. That program is in deep trouble, the Bulldogs. Indiana, Charlotte. Indiana looking to go 4-0 on the Big Ten Network. This is all Central Times, 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern. Maryland escapes with the win on the road against Virginia. They're at home against Villanova, looking to go 3-1. North Carolina against James Madison on the ACC Network, noon Eastern. Mac Brown ready to go 4-0. James Madison coming to looking for the upset. The Cincinnati Bearcats. Houston, first Big 12 game of the season on FS1 at noon Eastern. The Bearcats are the favorite. They're looking to go 3-1. They could have been 4-0, but they got it. They got to get that game out of the system, and they did. They won last week. Cincinnati looking to go 1-0 in the Big 12. Kansas and West Virginia. Neither team can afford to lose this game. Neither team. First Big 12 contest of the season. West Virginia is at home. A lot of pressure on Neil Brown. There's no pressure on Lance Leipold. But there is pressure on Neil Brown. Tulane versus Louisiana. Rice versus Army. Ohio versus Kentucky. Ball State, Central Michigan. MAC battle. Arkansas State, that gave Michigan a pretty good game, goes into Ames, Iowa. Iowa State looking to go 3-0, feeling good. They're feeling good as next week they go into Big 12 play. Virginia, Coastal Carolina, Utah State, Temple, St. Francis, Eastern Michigan, Southern Miss, Jacksonville State, Eastern Washington versus Nevada. Kent State goes against Penn State. Penn State looking to go 3-0 and going into the Big Ten Conference play the following week. The big game, 3:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Central Time. The Trojans versus the Big Ten reigning champion, NCAA national champion, Michigan Wolverines. Michigan has made a quarterback change. Davis Warren is out. Alex Orji's in. USC has a big advantage at the quarterback position. USC should go on the road and they should win this game. They should. And I cannot believe I'm saying that because a year, 8 months ago, I would have said no. USC wouldn't be ready for this game. They are more than ready. A team that is not ready is UCLA. There is a public report out there, and I can't remember who it was. It happened today. Some beat writer watching UCLA practice reported that for the second time during the practice, the coaches had to get the UCLA Bruin players together, gather them in a meeting, and tell them they needed to show more energy at practice. That happened for the second time today. So I think UCLA is in a funk. They're not playing good football. I think the staff is overwhelmed. They're going into Baton Rouge, and I think they're about to get their doors blown off again. LSU looking to go 3-1. Miami, Ohio against Notre Dame. Georgia Tech, Louisville. A monster of an ACC game. Georgia Tech is 1-1. Looking to go 2-1. They cannot afford a second ACC loss. Louisville, all their fans, they think it, they believe it, they taste it, they smell it. They think they're going to go back to the ACC championship game, this time against Miami. They believe the path has been cleared. Winning this first game at home is a must. Northern Illinois, number 23 in the nation. This is where they need to start that big streak in the MAC. Win. Win them all. And you might be looking at Northern Illinois Huskies, the G5 representative in the playoffs. Auburn and Arkansas. Big game for Pittman. Big game for Sam Pittman. They could get a road victory here. First SEC game of the year, right? Big game for Sam Pittman, Bobby Petrino. Rutgers versus Virginia Tech. Rutgers looking to go 3-0. The Hokies looking to go 3-1. That's a pretty big game. Central Connecticut, UMass. Youngstown State versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh looking to go 4-0, and I think Pittsburgh has a bye next week. I believe so. The Panthers have had two comeback victories in the last 2 weeks against Cincinnati and against West Virginia. Looking for an easier game this Saturday. Texas Tech, Arizona State, first Big 12 game. First Big 12 game for the Sun Devils. On the road. Should be a high-scoring affair. Should be a fun game to watch. Memphis versus Navy. Memphis, believe if they win out, they're going to be the G5 representative after beating Florida State on the road. UTSA versus Houston Christian. The big Big 12 game of the week. 4 o'clock Eastern Time. 3 o'clock Central Time. 2 o'clock Mountain Time. 1 o'clock Pacific Time. Utah visits Stillwater, Oklahoma. The number 12 team in the country, Utah Utes, versus number 14, Oklahoma State Cowboys. The big monster game in the Big 12. And for all games, really, it's right up there with everybody else this Saturday. Heavy drama in Stillwater. Utah, they've got a chip on their shoulder. They're saying, knock it off. Knock this chip off my shoulder. The Cowboys are going to try to do it. Duke looking to go 4-0 against Middle Tennessee. Vanderbilt, Missouri, TCU coming off a great game. Tough defeat, but a great game going against SMU. SMU have not thought they were going to look a whole lot better. I don't know about their quarterback change. I don't know if I'm a believer in that. Josh Hoover, TCU, I think they're going to win this game on the road. UTEP versus Colorado State, Monmouth, Florida International. East Carolina against Liberty. Kind of a sneaky, important game. Liberty's not going to have much challenges to go and try to become an undefeated Liberty squad in Conference USA, but this could be the trap game against the Pirates Miami versus South Florida. The elbows are being thrown. If you go on X, if you go on the message boards, Miami and South Florida, the elbows are being thrown like crazy. Northwestern versus Washington. Washington's first Big Ten game at home against Northwestern. Coming off that tough loss against the Cougars. UConn, Florida Atlantic, California on the road to Florida State. California looking to go 4-0. California's first ACC conference game. And they got a real good shot to go 4-0. Real good shot. California is making things happen. Florida, we talked about it. Mendoza and Jaden Ott, the running back, they've got a pretty good offense this year for the first time in a decade. They're in Berkeley. Florida A&M against Troy. Tulsa versus Louisiana Tech. New Mexico State versus Sam Houston. Toledo versus Western Kentucky. Wyoming 0-3. Oh my goodness. Against North Texas. Tennessee, Oklahoma. The big SEC game of the week. We just talked about the big Big 12 game of the week. The Cowboys versus the Utes. This is the Sooners versus the Volunteers. I'm not going to get this is going to be one of the games that we select tomorrow. So I'm not going to give it away what I'm thinking here. But this is a monster game in Norman, Oklahoma. Bowling Green versus Texas A&M. Bowling Green almost defeated Penn State on the road. Can they get the job done against the Aggies? Something's wrong with Connor Weigman, the quarterback of Texas A&M. Hopefully we'll find out more about Bowling Green, Texas A&M, Akron versus South Carolina. And then, well, the Florida of Rosedale. The evil Hawkeyes versus the beloved Golden Gophers. NBC, 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central Time. And of course, this studio, the fat guy from Minnesota, PATC, we're going to be doing a watch party on this game. So buckle up, brace for impact. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Georgia Southern, Ole Miss looking to go 4-0. UL Monroe is going to get trucked against the Texas Longhorns, the number one team in the country. The Texas Longhorns. It's going to be Arch Manning behind center, starting his first game. Look out, nation. Look out. And guess what? The game's going to be on SEC Network and ESPN Plus Network. That's where the game is located. Michigan State, Boston College. Man, this is an important game. Jonathan Smith, the Spartans can go 4-0. 4-0 to begin the season. I didn't think that was possible. And then Bill O'Brien, the Eagles are playing way above expectation. They can go to 3-1 going into Chestnut Hill. Holy smokes, that is a big non-conference game as they both head into the conference schedule. Baylor versus Colorado. Interesting ball game there. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Fresno State versus New Mexico. Purdue, who got absolutely destroyed against Notre Dame, going to go to Corvallis. They got to recover. Oregon State got absolutely destroyed by Oregon. They've got to recover. This is a recovery game. One of these teams are going to recover. The other team is going to be looking for an exit. Boise State, Portland State, Kansas State, BYU. Now, you would think the BYU Cougar fans would be happy being 3-0. You'd think the BYU Cougar fans would be excited to get Kansas State at home. You'd think they'd be just ecstatic. This is their moment. But they're not. maybe somebody can give me a call later in this program, and after we're done with the monologue here, we're going to be done shortly. Maybe somebody can explain to me why the BYU fans are not happy. Why are they so discouraged? I know the offense have been playing great. They're giving up the ball too much, but they're making plays at the right time. They're making enough of them. They're 3-0 for goodness sake. And they've got the opportunity to pull the upset. Let me know, Cougar fans, why are you so upset? Northern Iowa versus Hawaii. So those are the games we're going to be picking. We're going to be selecting games tomorrow to pick against the spread. And Greg the Gold is arriving tomorrow, Wednesday, September 18th. The last 2 weeks, I've gone 6-6. I'm 12-12 the last 2 weeks. That stops this Friday night. Illinois, Nebraska. There is a lock in that game. There are locks all over the place on Saturday. Greg the Gold has arrived for week 4. Fine. Book it. Okay, let's open up the phone lines here. Let's open up the phone lines. But before we do, let's go through some comments here, man. Like Bo Weevil, Clemson Tiger. Hot guys win big. Sorry, Greg. No! Stephen Vitt, Utah, Oklahoma State is a must watch. Yes. Miami and South Florida should be a good one. Immaculate, I hope Florida State wins or Cal Twitter is going to take over. We'll be talking about that game tomorrow as well. Thank you for coming on in, Architect. West Virginia will win by 2 touchdowns. Indiana mentally broke UCLA. Yeah, the reports out of today is not good. Not good. Okay, let's open up the phone lines. Talk. This is open day. This is open line Tuesday. Open line Tuesday. We'll go as long as you want, as short as you want. Tomorrow is our selection show. Tomorrow's going to be a bigger, longer show. We're going to be really going into week 4 games. I just wanted to go through them real quick. And again, I've advised everybody to keep your head on a swivel. This is Sam Shoemaker. AAC Commissioner Tim Pernetti. ACC Commissioner Tim Pernetti. We need Memphis to be successful in the American for the American to be successful. He later said it's because Memphis is an important market and a terrific brand, and that Memphis' success is no more important than any other member of the ACC. I do believe Tim Pernetti went out there to Memphis today. I and again, I right before we came on live, I was caught surprised a little bit or a lot, and was told that things are rapidly moving. So, like, decisions of yes or no are going to be made here pretty soon, like real soon. So keep your head on the swivel. Make sure you subscribe and turn your notifications on. So it sounds like Pernetti expects, like, everybody expects decisions to be made real quick here. Like, people have been working on it, and Pernetti, we'll find out. But it's going to happen a lot quicker. I thought it was going to happen quickly, but I thought it was going to happen within a couple weeks. Looks like the timetable is not that. So keep your head on a swivel. I think the AAC has... what is your prediction on the PAC ads? Thank you, Steve-O, for the super chat. Appreciate your generosity. Well, I wouldn't really call them predictions. We did a live show on it yesterday, and our live show, our title screen was Memphis, Tulane, UNLV, UTSA. Those are the tiers of the schools that's the order even. Those are the schools that is being targeted right now. Memphis and Tulane. So that's the top dominoes. And if Tulane and Memphis say yes, then it might go to 10 teams. There might be another 2 that are added. If they say no, I got a feeling that there's only going to be 2 more added. And then they got to figure out the UNLV situation. If that's a yes or no. We believe they want them, but don't know if they can get them yet because of the political situation. They probably will get them. The Mountain West will get UNLV. So if I had to make just a prediction, no one is reporting this to me, I'd probably say that that the Mountain West will be successful with those 4 schools that I put on the title screen yesterday. But we haven't gotten the word that's again, that's why it's difficult for me to make predictions, because then people say, Greg reported this has happened. I have not reported anything has happened. Only that the timetable has ramped up. Like, we're going to be hearing something real quick. Memphis and Tulane are the 2 dominoes that either going to fall for the PAC or not. If those 2 go to the PAC, then I think the PAC are going to add another 2. If they don't go, then I think the PAC is only going to add 2 more, because they're not going to be not too interested in the next 2, the next layer down. So the Big Lubbock says, sounds like Memphis is on board. Again, if I had to, make a prediction, I would say they're going to get there. But that's not what's being told to us. The negotiations are going on. Memphis does have reservations. So does Tulane. I think the East-West divisions for the PAC would let the conference grow, and they would be able to cover all TV time slots. I mean, that's an idea that other people have brought up, Immaculate and others. We have not heard of an expansion to 12 teams. In public, they have said 2 to 4. I've had someone tell me that it could be 4 if they're successful with Memphis and Tulane. If not, they'll probably just add 2 more and call it a day for now with 8 schools. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I have not heard you at UAB. It would be wise for the Pac. They yes, I agree. Illini 10. A couple of Big Ten West battles this weekend. There are no Big Ten West no more. Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa at Minnesota. Yep. We're going to be doing a watch party. We're going to be doing the Illinois, Nebraska watch party.
Call from
Dave B.
Dave B is on the line. Thanks for calling, sir. I do appreciate it. The floor is yours.
Hey, Greg. I love your show, by the way. First-time caller. Been listening for, close to a year now. I thought I'd call in on behalf of BYU fans, and I'm listening 5 or 10 minutes in arrears, so shut me down if a BYU fan has already called in.
Nope, no, they haven't, and I'm so happy you called. I appreciate it, sir. Go ahead. Why is some of the fan base so pessimistic? I don't understand it.
I don't know. It's I think it's just years of success, but it's going to be. I have to admit, I was a doubter. All the folks that said, you're not going to be able to handle at BYU a P5 schedule week in and week out, and sure enough, a 2-7 conference record last year, no bowl. Like it is tough competition, and geez, I don't know. I think we just become too accustomed to success. Yeah. But this is what last year is what an off year in a big conference is like, and I think we should enjoy it. Jake Retzlaff, I mean, he's only a junior. He's chucking the ball around. He's just, some of the quarterbacks that chuck like that, the bit of coaching turned out to be Ty Detmer. He's not going to be that strong, but I think, he can play for another year and a half and start, and, maybe some 7-8 win seasons.
Yeah, okay, so I'm of two minds.
But I didn't get into why we're upset.
Huh?
Well, why fans are upset. We're spoiled when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's effectively it.
So I'm of two minds when it comes to Jake Retzlaff, okay? My one mind is, and I talked about this in the offseason, and that's why I had BYU down higher than Houston, but I don't know. I can't remember how I predicted them, but 15th, 14th, 13th, something like that, for the Big 12 final standings. I'm not real impressed with Jake Retzlaff. That's one of the things I talked about. I wasn't impressed with their. I don't think their offense was going to be that good this year, even though they were getting some of their receiver back, like Cody Epps and stuff. But then I went into, somebody sent me some information, and then I really did a deep dive. And Jake Retzlaff's story is kind of cool, right? He did not really get a chance. COVID hurt him. His high school year, he was going to be, he's going to be probably decently recruited. He was going to be the star quarterback. It didn't happen. COVID hit, and he didn't get highly recruited. He had to go to junior college. He had a really good year in junior college, and then he was going to go to UTEP. But his credits didn't transfer enough. He was just short. So then he had to go back and play another year at junior college with River City Junior College that was close to home. Had another really good year. And then he goes to BYU. So, and then there's other stuff in the story, but so something like now I'm biased for him, right? So I see him make I see him make a crazy throw, stupid turnover, being fumbled. because he's trying for the extra yard because he got hit. But now in my heart, not my mind, but I'm thinking with my heart. The guy's just trying to make something happen, like he's always had to do in his life, right? Make something happen. So I'm rooting for the guy, and so because I'm rooting for the guy, I think maybe I've taken on too much of a fandom for him. So maybe I'm not being as critical as I should be. He's never going to be an elite quarterback, but the guy is a fighter, Dave B. The guy is a fighter.
Oh, yeah. I like him. And Gary Bohannon's behind him, who's fine, but he's already a senior. I think Retzlaff can grow. I think of Mark Rippon for the Redskins. He would fumble every time he got sacked, but they managed to coach him into ball protection. He's no Hall of Famer, but he led the Redskins, named at the time, to a Super Bowl. And that Retzlaff can be like that. He can go to a bowl game or two.
Yeah.
I think. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, you're hopeful. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad to find a hopeful BYU Cougar fan. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like for BYU in the Big 12. I mean, I think of them like Auburn in the SEC. There's going to be some decent years, but a lot of 3 and 6 and 4 and 5 conference seasons. But then, I don't know if you've seen BYU basketball, and I know it's not a basketball show, but they lost their coach to Kentucky, a blue blood. So they got that fired up, the NIL from the boosters. They spent even more money for Kevin Young, the top NBA assistant, and they managed starting late to get a top 5 recruiting class. And I don't know if that money is ever going to go into BYU football, because a lot of it is basketball fans, like the Utah Jazz owner is rumored to be one. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I love being in the Big 12, and I won't talk all day, but love your show. I love your fans too. Love listening to the call-ins, and I do throw elbows in the chat, but it's all good-natured. Good bunch of folks. So thanks, everyone.
Elbows. Appreciate it, Davey. Call again, please.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Thank you, sir. Beautiful call. Okay. That's what I needed to hear. A hopeful, cheerful, realistic. Dave B is being very realistic. He's being very realistic, but he's hopeful. That's what I needed to hear. That lifted me up. Now, the next caller is probably going to put me down. Of course, it's Immaculate. Hot guy. Holy smokes.
Immaculate.
Immaculate. Now, listen to me. We just had a hopeful phone call.
Heard that.
Okay?
I heard that.
All right. So, now you're a hot guy calling. Right after an uplifting BYU Cougar fan, you're going to come on here and you're going to be very, very pessimistic about your hot guy going into Saturday with the Gophers. Right? I mean, that's...
I mean, right. I'm a little worried about Cade, but...
Yeah.
LaShawn,
your backup running back is out Saturday.
No, I saw that, and I was kind of like, shrug, I don't care. The third running back that went in did better than him.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you noticed, they actually moved the guy who was behind him.
Okay.
Up to his spot before that was announced. So, I don't know. But I do have to object. I must object to something you said, and it does have to do with it. You said the Big Ten West no longer lives. And I object because the Big Ten West will never die.
Okay.
It may not exist ever again.
Yeah.
But within the schools that were part of it, and this even includes Nebraska.
Yes.
It'll never die. Because everyone else hated it, and we loved it. Because it's like, who cares? Our schools are doing great. We have this division of local rivals of universities. Like, who cares? And so to me, it's one of those things where you take so much crap for it that as long as we never forget it, it'll never die. And I don't think anyone's ever going to forget it.
Probably not.
Because people that hated it kind of loved it in a way, because everyone they love to have something to hate. They love to have something to rag on. And it's always going to be, a talking point. Just like Iowa having no offense is always going to be a talking point, even when we have the number one rusher in the country right now. There's still going to be jokes about Iowa offense. So that was my objection, is that, the Big Ten West will never die. But in terms of all of this talk about the Pac, somebody fired that man's PR writers, because I swear to God, the first time I read some of these quotes, I read it wrong. I thought he was saying that there is nobody more important right now than Memphis, in success, because of where they are, who they beat. Like, you need them to do well. They beat Florida State. You need them to do well. But he actually said they're not more important than anyone else. And I'm sitting here going, you're at Memphis for the first time ever since you took over. And there's rumors about them leaving. And you're going to tell them there in their backyard, no, your success isn't more important than everyone else. Right after they beat Florida State. I'm like, why? How did this guy get this job? I saw someone when I post joke, he's the next GK, and that may end up coming true. I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean,
well, Ross Dellinger just put up a tweet here.
Did.
AAC Commissioner Tim Pernetti. I think this is what people love about college sports, and maybe what some people don't like about college sports, is that there never seems to be any point where people are spending more effort building than they are maybe trying to tear down. So that seems to be a little bit of a sour grapes there, because he knows that this new Pac-12 is going after some of his schools. And then he said, asked about him, Parth asked Tim Pernetti about his confidence in retaining Memphis and Tulane amid reports of the Pac-12's interest in the schools. The membership's in a great place. The speculation is going to be the speculation. So I read those words that he's not very encouraged that they're going to be able to keep him. But that's just my take on it.
Even if you're not, even if inwardly they are gone, you still have a conference to keep alive. Like, you've lost your four main brands. Some can argue that they're not the four top ones when they lost Houston, Cincy, UCF, and SMU, but those were the four picked by major conferences. Mm-hmm. And now you're looking to lose anywhere from 2 to more. Like, your membership is going to be shaken. Like, and to come out here and kind of be, this lukewarm, like, it's just speculation. You've already lost 4 schools. You have arguably what people are looking at, like, the top looking brand in the G5 ranks now, coming and looking at 2, 4, maybe 6 of your schools, and you're coming out and talking, nonchalant, like, I'm sorry, if I'm in that conference, I'm saying, please bring back Oresco. Please. Who is this guy? Oresco was made for these types of situations. He did really well because he knew sometimes what you had to say isn't, mm-hmm. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it, and sometimes it's not necessarily that it perfectly reflects the situation. It's, you're the leader. You're trying to maintain, because this can avalanche. If these schools are looking around and the others are hearing this from him, they might start looking around too. They might be calling up Tulane and Memphis saying, hey, so how is that going on? What's going on with that? Is there any others looking to go with you? We might be interested. It just starts to build once confidence falls. And that's when I'm reading these comments today. And they're not just like comments from him, at his office. He came to visit Memphis. Like, he came there. Like,
yep.
So to act no, they're just not that big of a deal. Like, you went there.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I don't know. It's that's what I'm saying. Like, whoever is kind of with him, his staff of trying to like manage talking points and the rhetoric, it's starting to look like another GK situation. In my opinion, because of just how bad the GK situation was. But if this thing starts to fall apart, it's certainly in the same realm, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then like, you know, if the AAC gets picked apart here, and then they're going to have to backfill.
Can they?
Huh? Well,
I mean, I know it's hard to like kind of grip because AAC's always been what I thought was going to be the hunter. They were going to be the shark. And real quickly, OSU and WSU and their move and what they're doing, it's thrown this whole thing on its head. I mean, we've talked about it. I've said, hey, expect a G5 consolidation round to come up. It's going to get wild.
Yeah.
There is no predicting this. I mean, I thought it was when the AAC's ready, they're going to take some Mountain West schools, and that might have been the plan. And maybe those schools talked to OSU and WSU and said, hey, these guys are shopping us.
Yeah.
Do you want to do something? I mean, we don't know. But that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought the AAC was going to take a Western wing and, go to town. And
I think they are going to take a couple Mountain West schools. They're just not going to be the top brands.
Well, if you're those Mountain West schools now,
I think Air Force is going to go. I think maybe even a New Mexico is going to end up there.
But I mean that's because we're thinking of AAC as they are now and as they've been. But one, they've lost 4 main brands.
Yep.
There's been no change to the ESPN deal since then.
Yep.
Now to lose 2 to 4, maybe 6 more. We're looking at 6 to 10 total that they've lost from the top. If you're outside of that conference looking in and they're coming to talk to you, I'm thinking, well, what's going on between you and ESPN? Like, and I look at the rest of the schools in the AAC, and some of those, they've just recently gotten there from other conferences.
Yeah.
So do some of them back at their old conferences and saying, especially when you see your commissioner out talking like this at one of the main 2 schools that's being talked about is leaving. I mean, I might be sitting there going, I don't know if this is it. Especially when you look at Conference USA, and they're the ones that had the last, the team that would have been in the 12 team if it was last year. And so you're looking at, if they continue to have Liberty, you might be thinking, we hop on over there, maybe at least we get some CFP money. It ain't happening here. We've lost all of our competitors.
Yeah, and then I've been thinking, well, maybe the AAC, if they lose, if they lose like a Memphis and Tulane, does the AAC try to go and would their membership be okay with the addition of a Middle Tennessee, a Western Kentucky, a Liberty from the Conference USA? Or maybe just Liberty. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, it's this is going to go on for a while, I think. But I was told, like, maybe 30 minutes before I came on live, the decisions on the next PAC edition is going to happen real soon, which kind of caught me by. I knew it's going to happen sooner rather than later, but I didn't know it was going to happen real soon. To me, that means that the PAC expects decisions to be made soon. Like, yes or no. Yes, okay, you're in. No, we're going to the next one. Yes, they're in. No, we'll go to, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want this, like, done, like, in the next couple days.
Yep. I mean, it comes down to, like, what's Memphis and Tulane going to demand? I mean, help getting out of the AAC, most certainly. That's what those two are going to ask for. They're going to want their exit costs covered. They're going to ask for others to come with. If so, is it just two Texas schools? Recently, I kind of looked away from ECU and more towards UAB because I looked at Memphis and Tulane's rosters, and they're full of Georgia kids, and there's quite a few Alabama kids, a lot of Florida, a lot of Texas. So when we're talking about something like this is all about on-field performance. This isn't, an academic conference. This is about being the top G5 that gets into the CFP every year, and that's what it's about. So recruiting is a big deal. And if you're Memphis and you're Tulane and you're wanting to maintain and, you might be going out to a Western Conference, basically, you need to have these locations. You need to be able to know that you can maintain these two teams that are getting you looked at, So they have a lot of Georgia kids. They have a good amount of Alabama. That wasn't necessarily equal between them, but there was a lot of Florida and a lot of Texas. So that's why I have two Texas, USF, and UAB, because Birmingham, looking on a map, it's just right down the road from Atlanta. Not far from all of northern Georgia. So good stadium, really good university. I had to kind of look at it and go, I was not looking at them seriously, but once I look at the rosters, that's where I'm at. And I'm still with that, and I could be wrong. But I think if you're those two schools, one, I want the equal logistics of having the same amount of schools as the East as there are in the West. And there's going to be a lot of decisions to be made here in the future. Possibly expansion decisions, all the NIL decisions and things that conferences are going to have to make decisions on in the future. That means their votes in conference are going to matter more in the future than they've ever mattered in the past. And it matters a lot. Look at what happened with the ACC. You got three schools that wanted to vote out expansion, and they got outvoted. An individual vote can matter a lot. So if you only have 4 going in and you have 10 schools, you only have 40% of the vote going your way. So I think whatever their demands are right now that they are making for the Pac-6, could be big, could be small, I don't know. But I think that's probably going to determine how long this process takes. And how open is the Pac to just saying, okay, they want it, that's fine. Let's just give it to them. Let's get this win. Let's get it in. They want 6, okay, let's do it. Yeah, we'll figure it out, but it's only 12. We're the Pac-12. It fits. Look, if we're going to talk to Fox and CBS and TNT and ESPN because of the AAC, look, we can do it with 12. These are all basically kind of equivalent brands, except for maybe one in Texas is not, but it's in Texas. So I think that they'll do, but of course I don't know that, and we'll see. And if the demands are small, we might get an announcement tomorrow. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Again, tomorrow we're going to be doing our selections against the spread. And, of course, Iowa and Minnesota is going to be one of those games. So put your thinking cap on, Miss Immaculate.
I already put my pick in for him.
Oh, did you? Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Yep.
Good luck, sir. Or no,
Good luck.
Not good luck.
Yeah, well, good. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear you say that.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate the call.
Have a good one.
Yep. Great call by Mr. Hot Guy Immaculate. Finely tuned. AAC should get Air Force, Army, and Navy. Well, AAC, the American Athletic Conference, already has Army and Navy. It's had Navy for a few years, and just got Army. In fact, Army and Navy are. Hold on.
Call from
Steve.
Steve, can you hold on one moment, please?
Sure.
I do appreciate it. In fact, finally tuned, Army and Navy are sitting at the top of the AAC standings. They both are 1-0 in conference play. They beat Florida Atlantic and Temple. So Army and Navy are AAC teams, and I think it's true that they're trying to get Air Force Academy games, get pretty good viewership. It'd be pretty cool for the college football fan to have all those three in the conference together. Mr. Bearcat Steve, thanks for calling, sir. The floor is yours.
How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing better than my golf game, so that's a good thing.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I guess I'm happy about that, but then again, you're probably depressed about your golf game. But go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Hey, a few things I wanted to touch on as you were going through the games early in the show. Just some side notes. South Florida opened up the second deck of Raymond James Stadium this week for Miami, and that hasn't happened for them in a long time.
Yeah.
And, as improved as South Florida is, I just got to think by the middle of the third quarter, there's going to be that stadium could get kind of quiet.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's not a slam of South Florida. I just think Miami's probably that good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, sir.
And the thing about the American Conference, when they expanded after losing Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF, and then again, this is no slam to the teams that they got to replace them, but I'm thinking they could have done better. I don't know if anybody in the Mountain West at that particular moment would have considered the AAC, like a Boise State or a San Diego State, or I know. But if you go further east, you got a Liberty, a Marshall, an Appalachian State. You know what I'm saying, Greg?
Yep.
And I just think they would have been, at that time, better choices than what Oresco and the rest of the Big East, the AAC, decided on. But that's water over the dam now, and I got to believe Air Force will join Army and Navy. But until things are done, one never knows, do they? I guess. And it's just, if the AAC could probably backfill with maybe the three universities I just mentioned. I don't think, I shouldn't say this because anything could happen. I think it's going to be pretty tough, and and I know money rules the day, but I think it's going to be pretty tough that if any conference looks at any MAC school to pull a MAC school out. What's your opinion there? I mean, I know money talks, but
is your question, if a MAC school gets poached, which one would it be?
Well, my question is, if the AAC says, hey, there's a few MAC schools that may fit the bill here.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It's going to take a lot of money. And I know they'd make a lot more money in the AAC, but I just think the MAC is so regional and been around so long.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot to get any of those schools to leave.
Yeah, I mean, if that is a great question, Steve. I guess it would have to be one of the Ohio schools, right?
Well, I mean, Toledo's got a metro population of 450,000 people, Greg.
Yeah.
They're less than an hour from Ann Arbor. Bowling Green State University's their biggest rival, right down the road, 25 miles away. But I think if you look year in and year out at the MAC and Toledo specifically, you give them a few more $1 million in their budget, and they could be better than they have been.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that they would leave.
Yeah, I don't know.
Miami, Bowling Green, Ohio U. I just don't know.
Western Michigan is a lot better off than Eastern Michigan when it comes to resources and demographics and all that. Kalamazoo, but I don't think the AAC would be interested in them.
I don't think they would be interested in Central Michigan, and I've lived in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And there's a lot going on in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. They've got the university's a good university, Central Michigan's, but I'm not sure the AAC would ever think about wanting them.
Northern Illinois, that's north of Chicago.
I think they're a little southeast, maybe, Greg, but I may be wrong on the map too.
The
you
southeast
may be right
of Chicago?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know. You could be. I mean, southwest. I'm sorry, a little south. But you could be right. I think they're south of Chicago a little bit, but I may be wrong.
Oh well, I think you're right. Actually,
I've been there, but I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell
They're
you
west.
for sure. They're west, southwest
obviously.
a little of Chicago. Yeah.
Well,
but
I think Toledo would probably, but I don't. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you got Buffalo, which is a good metropolitan area too. That's in the MAC now. But I'm just thinking, the AAC has to have their guard up right now, Greg.
Yeah. I don't see Buffalo because until Buffalo does something until they get a new football stadium, the one they have is ridiculously bad.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
So I don't see the AAC doing that.
Yep. But I just look at places like Liberty, Marshall, Appalachian State. If the AAC would backfill, would be forced into doing it, And then I guess my other question to you, because I haven't quite figured out, what does the Mountain West end up doing, especially if UNLV jumps to the Pac?
Well, they either entrench and form a G6 conference, right? Or they scatter to the wind, a terminology used by Wilner and Dennis Dodd. And I thought I would have put my chips in the middle of the table that they would entrench and backfill and become a conference and maybe even go to FCS schools.
Well, yeah, my thoughts are Montana State.
But then again,
South
you're going to need
State,
media
North
partners to
Dakota
get you enough money for that to happen. And maybe it's just easier for these schools to go somewhere else, like an Air Force, to go to the AAC. And again, and I brought this up before, and I pretty much got shut down by the chat room. But, look at Wyoming. I know it's Laramie. I know it's a low population, kind of hard to get in, But, what would the MAC be interested in Wyoming?
Yep. You know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know, it's everything's on the table till it isn't, Greg.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. But other than that, those are just a few things I wanted to touch on. Not looking forward to see what crazy moves the head coach at Cincinnati makes this Saturday because 2 weeks in a row.
Now,
2
you
weeks
guys
in a row.
are okay. Everything's...
No, they're not. No, they're not, Greg. Offensively...
You guys are as pessimistic as BYU fans.
More. And it's just not only me.
Okay.
It's probably over 50% of the fan base.
Okay.
But anyhow.
All right. Well, you should be able to win this week.
Should be able to win. Should have had a 22-point lead against Pittsburgh in the second half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But you went on the road and you won.
40 miles up the road. I mean, I know. Okay. Greg, I'm just being a realist.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. We'll see what happens when you go play in Lubbock. That's going to be the big one.
Well,
that's in a couple weeks.
That's the Tommy Tuberville Bowl.
Okay.
You know, Texas Tech and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Neither school could wait to get rid of him once he was there for a while.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, we'll see. I mean, the offense, Kiner is the most underrated running back in the Big 12. He proved that last year what he can do, and he's proved it this year.
Yeah.
Offensive line's finally going to be healthy. Everybody's going to be back after, for this game on the offensive line, which. And then prior, the kid from Ohio State, the running back, he's the speed that Cincinnati used to have, a running back that they haven't had for the last couple of years, and so forth. Sorsby, he's just you were high on him.
I still am.
I'll tell you what, Greg. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he's better than average. He's better than average.
Yeah.
So,
and he's got a long ways to go. He's still got 2 more years of eligibility after this year. So.
Yep. So, anyhow, just a few things I wanted to touch on. It's good to talk to you. I haven't called in for a while. And
appreciate it, Steve. Thank you so much, my man.
All right.
Great call. Mr. Bearcat. Mr. Bearcat. Now the phone lines are open. I know we got a couple calls coming on in, but phone lines are now open. Yeah, Buffalo has an upside, but they can't have that track around the football field. Their football stadium is atrocious.
Call from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger. Ryan Willie is on the line. Thanks for calling, my man. The floor is yours.
Well, this might take a little bit for me because I'm very upset over what happened last weekend.
Yes.
And I can't believe that everyone in the college football world believes that Fickle is a good coach. He was a one-year wonder at Cincinnati. In a weak conference, he hasn't done anything to keep a good offensive line that can move people around. I wish they would have kept Leonard and not hire Fickle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who else was in the hunt at that time to become the Badgers coach.
Oh, I think it was between Fickle and Leonard. And McIntosh, the AD, went with Fickle because he was a big name that was out there.
Yeah.
But he hasn't proven anything.
Yeah, it's only his second year. understand trying to change the offense a little bit, right? To try to get it more of an aerial attack in this new modern day of college football. But you can't go away from what has made Wisconsin completely. I don't know if Longo is the right offensive coordinator. That's the problem.
People on the Wisconsin message boards are wanting him to be fired.
Yeah, I don't think he was the right hire. To be honest with you. And that goes to the head coach. But I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm a Gopher, but the Badgers, I mean, they've got, I know they just got blown out by Bama, but they've got some cats on that team. You guys have some really good football players. You're going to win some games. The offensive line it's not like it was, but it's not bad. I think the world of Malusi. I think Walker is going to be a player. I think Will Pauly, your wide receiver, is an excellent wide receiver. Your defense, I know Alabama kind of used its speed on you and stuff, but I still think you got a very tough team. I think you're going to be a tough out, and I think I still have you at 8-4. You know, I think you're going to have a very good year. Maybe I'm
even with Locke.
Wrong.
Even with Locke.
Well, that's a great question. I don't know. That injury, I don't know. That's a great question, Ryan. Who does Wisconsin play next?
Oh, they got a bye week this week. Then they play USC.
Oh, jeez. Well, the bye week came at the right time. So now Braden Locke can get a lot of reps. Let me look here. Let me take a look at Wisconsin. 1 second here. So the bye week came at the right time. At USC, home against Purdue, you're looking good there. On the road to Rutgers, you're looking good there. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying, you're crazy, Greg. Rutgers is going to beat Wisconsin. Well, I don't know. Take a look at 8th and Caliac-Manis against Wisconsin last year. I think Wisconsin's going to give Rutgers a lot of problems. Then you're on the road to Northwestern. At home against Penn State's going to be a problem. On the road, Iowa's going to be a problem. At home against Oregon. You guys have a pretty tough back end of the schedule, don't you?
And then Nebraska, then the Gophers.
Yeah, so all that is going to be rivalry fights and yeah, you'll get the 6 win. I think 8-4 probably is out of reach with Braden Locke as quarterback. Yeah.
6-6, so we can keep our streak alive.
Yeah. 6-6, 7-5. The Gopher game will probably be 2 teams looking to go 7-5, something like that. Yeah, it's again, we'll see how Braden Locke looks against USC, but more importantly, we'll see how he looks against Purdue, right? I think we're just going to have to wait and see. They can develop, he's going to get all the reps, or almost all the reps.
Because if he doesn't do well, against Purdue, then people are going to call for the true freshman.
Yeah. That's a LaCrue, right?
Yeah.
He's not a true freshman, though. He's a redshirt freshman.
He signed in the 24 class. Maybe
Who are you talking about? Cole LaCrue?
No, Matt Tower.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. He would get the start over LaCrue.
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Because LaTrue was one of Chris' recruits.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I get it. It's not that Wisconsin lost. It's how they lost to Alabama. It's got to be discouraging. I get it. And of course, the quarterback and Tyler Van Dyke, when he played those first few plays, he looked pretty good, man. I mean, he was making plays out there, and then he got hurt, and that's discouraging.
It is.
Yeah.
I just hope that we can keep the axe.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's such a long ways, We'll see how. We'll check out the health of both teams. I think we're going to get a good barometer this Saturday night, Iowa, Minnesota. Right. Minnesota, the offensive line is underperforming. I don't know what's going on. None of the Gophers understand it. They're underperforming. The back seven of the defense is overperforming. Nobody understands it. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're looking at here at Minnesota. Some of the things we thought were going to do better are not doing good. Some of the things we thought was going to be a train wreck is doing better. So I don't know, man. I don't even know what we got going against Iowa. So we'll find out, and then we'll take it from there.
Well, go Iowa.
All right, man. That's
right.
a true Badger fan.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Appreciate it. Of course, Immaculate says that's right. So we had a BYU fan call in. Dave B. A little bit more cheerful than your average BYU fan. We had a Bearcat fan call in, not too happy. Hawkeye Badger fan call
Call
in.
from
Nitwit.
Not too happy. Now we have a Penn State fan, and I think he's going to be pretty happy. Nitwit, the floor is yours.
Oh, Greg, I couldn't wait to call in today. I tell you what, everything's so exciting in college football. What a game, you know?
Yep.
Everything out there. I want to call in. First of all, my dinner tonight was a Whopper without cheese, so I'm doing my part.
Wait. You said without cheese.
Without cheese.
Yeah,
I got a
thank
Whopper
God.
without cheese. So I'm doing my part to stop the cheesification of America.
Can I interrupt you for a moment? First of all, I'm very proud of you. Second of all, go ahead.
It's not hard to do. It's not hard to do, Greg.
Second of all, for all of you people in the chat room, having a cheeseburger is a sin against your palate. But there's different levels of sin here. Putting a cheese on the Whopper is gross negligence. I mean, it is a crime. It's an absolute crime. Do you think when they first produced the Whopper, do you think when Burger King first produced the Whopper and it put Burger King on the map, franchises started spreading around, the big Whopper, a way bigger burger than anything McDonald's had, and then McDonald's came with the Big Mac. You think that Whopper had cheese when it first came out? Of course it didn't. Just like White Castle. Do you think those sliders had cheese on it? No, it was the onion and the meat that took White House to the next White House. Whatever. Look. Cheese on a Whopper is one of the most ugliest things you could do in life. So when Nitwit, I heard him say Whopper, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But then, okay, my brain registered that he said, I did not have the cheese on the Whopper. Nitwit, when I go through a Burger King drive-through, I say I want the number one, the Whopper. And then I try to say as quickly as I can, because I know the question is going to be asked, do you want cheese with that? And I know that question is going to set me off, because it has set me off in the past. So I say, Whopper without cheese! Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
I have to say, Greg, this is the first time I did it without cheese. It does taste better for everybody in the chat room. So anyhow, just wanted to call in. I want to send a shout out to Toledo Rockets, who rocketed down to SEC country.
Yeah. And
just blew the doors off of Mississippi State, like 41-17. So
yeah.
And the funny thing is, no one talks about that. No, what? Oh, wait, an SEC team just got blown away by a MAC school? Didn't see that on ESPN College Football. Didn't see that in any highlights anywhere. So it's funny when an SEC team loses. Yeah, we almost lost to a MAC team at home. Pretty tough Bowling Green team.
Yeah.
And it was all over the place.
Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah.
Toledo goes down and blows the doors off of a mid-level SEC team, and everybody goes, oh, okay. Nothing to see here. So I want to send a shout-out to Toledo and that team. That's a hell of an accomplishment. Also want to send a shout-out to Pitt, and their quarterback, who came back 10 points down in the fourth quarter. What an exciting game.
Crazy.
The
Mountaineers could not tackle Eli Holstein. And Eli Holstein is not the nimblest guy in the world. And they could not tackle him. He is
not. He could not tackle him. So just wanted to send that out. And I could speak for Nittany Nation here. We are going to go Gophers against the Iowa Hawkeyes. How about that? We are rooting for the Gophers to defeat Iowa. Beautiful, man.
Beautiful. We need all the rooting. We need all the help we can get.
You got all the Nittany Nation vibes coming your way.
Yes. Now I know, but I also understand it's for you're not being altruistic though. It's for selfish reasons. Because you want the Gophers to have as good a record as it possibly can before you come here and beat us down, to help you with your own credentials when it comes to the college football playoffs. But I'm going to take your rooting anyways. Even though it doesn't come from a good place of your heart, I'm going to take your rooting anyways. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Greg. And like I said, on this PAC school situation, I got a little bit different take than Immaculate. I think the PAC is creating something that's got people's attention.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something. And, we're talking about leverage. And I'm thinking there's people looking over there thinking, man, if I don't get on that train's about to take off. And if I don't get on that, what's the alternative, Greg? Are you going to wait for the ACC to suddenly get two teams leave and you get an invite 10 years from now?
Well, the alternative is the AAC does something historic, something off, maybe make a deal with a private equity firm. Or, who knows? I think Pernetti is a gambling man. So now is the time for him. Maybe he's going to have to roll the dice on something to keep Tulane and Memphis in house. We shall see.
But here's the problem, Greg.
Those comments that he made today did not sound like comments coming from a man who holds the higher cliff than a gunfight. I think he feels that doesn't have the leverage in this.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Pac-2 schools too, they are in a unique position because they got the next. Correct me if I'm wrong. They got the next negotiation rights, right? With the TV network. So
yeah, they're probably doing it right now, right?
They're
definitely getting valuations from.
Right.
I think it's mostly Fox.
Right, but I think like if Tulane and Memphis and maybe a Texas school or the two Texas schools, I'm with you, Greg. I don't think they go too big.
Yeah, well,
I think they stop at 10 because they want to create a foundation.
Yeah,
and give their members as much TV money as they can. So, I think that's why the first schools jumped, and I'm sure there's information that those schools know that we don't know, but I'm thinking that Pac-10 group, if you add Memphis, Tulane, or you add a Texas school, like you said, I think you said if it's Tulane and Memphis, they'll add 2 more. Is that what you think?
That's what we are. That's the chatter behind the curtain. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't think Tulane and Memphis hold the cards like you would think, because I think there's something special going on there, and like you said, you might get investment in the AAC or whatever, but then again, it could be now's your chance. You might be able to get into one of the conferences, but down the road, who knows? You know, it could be right on that tier, right on that border of Power 5 conference status down the road. So, I mean, are you willing to gamble that? Like, so your options, if you're Memphis, you're going to sit there and wait, say, well, maybe the ACC is going to take me if something happens with its grant of rights. But then again, if it all falls apart, how many of those schools would go to the Pac-12?
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Big 12. You know what I mean? So I think if you're Memphis and Tulane and schools like Rice, and you said UTSA, and man, there's a couple moments in history where if you don't take that moment, it could just pass you by. And I don't know if that's holding cards. You know what I mean, Greg?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hang up. My last thing I'm gonna say is I know Penn State dropped in the polls. I just want to tell everybody, keep thinking. Penn State's not any good. Drew Aller sucks. We are not even. We're overrated. I heard we're ranked too high. And just keep saying that for me. Just put that all over Twitter.
All right,
everybody keep saying it. Keep saying that, because that'll get our team motivated. And I kind of like that.
All right.
Take care, buddy.
You bet. Appreciate it, my man. Thank you. Beautiful call. Beautiful call. Especially when he made the decision to try the Whopper without the cheese, and he said, yes, great, it is better without the cheese. Now, if the rest of you would just listen to me and try it without the cheese, Ryan Willie with the super chat, this evil badger adds bacon to his cheeseburger. Wisconsin hates Minnesota so much that they're rooting for Iowa, who they also hate very, very much. But they hate Minnesota just a little bit more. This evil badger adds bacon to his cheeseburger. The battle for the bacon. A lot of bacon is going to be frying Saturday morning. That's part of what we do in Minnesota and Iowa. We have bacon, frying in the morning. The pig, the Floyd of Rosedale, the battle for it, Saturday night. We're going to be doing a watch party. So subscribe to our channel. Turn on your notifications and get ready for watch parties this Friday night, Saturday. And again, at the start of the show, I gave out a little bit of warning. Keep your head on a swivel because we were told things are moving faster than anybody anticipated. So keep your head on a swivel. Maria says, I love queso fresco. Air Force is not a game changer. Let's see what else we got here. Let me check one other thing real quick. College football, EA Sports, College Football 25. The franchise is the largest new console game launched in North America in 2024. It has seen 6.5 million users to date. And I believe the 2000, let me check the reporting here. I believe I saw, there were 1.5 million copies sold in 2013. 1.5 million in 2013, 6.5 million in 2024. We cover everything in college football. Okay, I think we're going to close it up. We've been on the air for almost 2 hours. I want to thank everybody, the donations, the comments in the chat room, and your phone calls. We actually went on a little bit longer than I thought we were going to, but Open Line Tuesday, I appreciate you calling. Keep your head on a swivel. I know I always say that, but really keep it on. We might be coming on later tonight or early tomorrow morning or sometime early tomorrow. Things are going a little bit faster than we anticipated. That's what we were told about 30 minutes before we came on live. So subscribe. Keep your head on a swivel. Become a member of our channel, Early P Cloak and Dagger member. Go to the description below the video. There's a link. Hit the join button, and become a member of our channel. I appreciate you all. Until next time. From all of us at PATC to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.